Despite the press release by the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, firmly denying allegations that the NIN and BVN data of Nigerian citizens have been compromised, reactions continue to trail the allegation of possible compromise due to certain beliefs that Nigerians' data are not properly protected. However, Nigeria's Federal House of Representatives have issued a public advisory acknowledging the recent statement by the National Identity Management Commission regarding unauthorized websites harvesting the personal data of Nigerians. In a statement signed by Honorable Akin Rotimi Jr., House spokesman and Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, he noted that certain websites have been described by NIMC as unauthorized data harvesters with no legal rights to access or manage sensitive data. Licensed partners or vendors are only authorized to verify NINs through approved channels and are not permitted to scan or store NIN slips. Joining us now to look at data protection in Nigeria and possible compromise is BC Adegbuyi, a lawyer, chairman, founder of Grassroots Addressing and Identity Network, GAIN, and a former Postmaster General of Nigeria and CEO of NIPOST. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
My pleasure.
Well, quickly, where did we get it wrong? Such that even the national identity card of a serving minister can be bought for 100 naira online. And what do we need to do?
Thank you. Let's put it in context. Who are you, Mario? Where are you, Rufi? How are you, Dr. Abati? Apology to Tiwa Savage and then Spyro. The foundation of this is the philosophy of who, that's digital identity. Where, that is addressing. How, the operationalization of the two concepts towards achieving a robust addressing and identity system that cannot be compromised. Now, we need reforms in Nigeria. And what is important is that this is not the time to play any blame game, because we need to assist NIMC in order to assist ourselves. Has it been compromised? Maybe. Is it a bad situation? Maybe. Is it incurably bad? Not so. However, you will recall that Bill Gates met with the president of Nigeria in Saudi Arabia during the World Economic Forum at the sidelines. Don't take my word for it. Bill Gates said that we've been dealing with your identity ecosystem and it's very scattered. And that we have been discussing with the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of the Economy on the latest technology on identity system, which is called, the acronym is MOSIP, Modular Open Source Identity Platform, incubated and developed by the International Institute of Technology Development in Bangalore, having been inspired by the overwhelming success of HADA,
the Indian system.
The world's largest end-to-end identity system. 1.2 billion people, hinged and founded on verifiable addressing system. Therefore, I'm submitting here today that if you look at the NIMC Act, it has covered the area of who. But the other leg, which in my view, the last mile, and equally important, is where, that is, digitally verifiable addresses. So in the course of our conversation, I will highlight or submit on how we can structurally rehabilitate whatever problems we have touching and concerning the alleged compromise. It's not my word, but what is important is that in order to help NIMC, because identity and address are critical national infrastructures, if we get it right, we will take care of insurgency, unemployment. I mean, the demographic architecture of Nigeria, you have the digital natives in the majority. And e-commerce has been projected by United Nations to grow at an additional 50%. The biggest market for e-commerce in Nigeria, for Africa, is Nigeria. That's why we need to get it. Now, recall that anytime a bank appears to be insolvent, what the regulator does is to subject it to stress tests, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That informed CBN's decision regarding a bank whose name I don't want to mention. So we just subject the NIMC identity ecosystem to a stress test. All the names that have been attached to a residential address, those addresses must be verified. And if they come clean, this is clean and move on.
How do you do that in Ibadan?
Oh, it is very...
With their southwest,
No. I grew up in Ibadan, Dr. Abati.
Yeah. And the colonials have one of the best addressing systems. Northwest Ibadan, Northwest 9, Southwest 3, Northwest 5, and NW 5, NW 6 in Ibadan. Yeah.
NW also 333, Chief Agbaje Street, Ayeye Ibadan. Yeah. I grew up there. It's based on longitude and latitude. Mm-hmm. We have now converted same by virtue of existing and evolving technologies to come up with digital addressing. One of your back-end guys, Khadija Adeyemi, I downloaded the digital address of your MD's office. I can read it for you. I have got 102 billion, 3 meters by 3 meters grid digital addresses that I want to give to Nigerians. I wanted to do it as Postmaster General. But Nigeria is always at war with itself. And the Federal Civil Service, the constipated bureaucracy. Right. When it got there, they killed it.
Thank you very much for bringing that up, because that leads into my next question. That before we begin, and I'm so glad that you've come this morning in the direction of solutions and the fact that there are ways that this can actually be handled. But before we get to the solutions, if you look at the history with regards to NIMC, each year they present a budget in millions. In fact, I think it was 2021, the House raised their budget to 5 billion, saying that because of the scope of work they needed that money. In 2022, the minister, or Dr. Issa Pantami at the time, had said that the president had approved an upgrading of their infrastructure as a result of the fact that they'd reached 80% capacity. So they've not been sleeping all this while. In fact, based on that, it means that, according to them, they've been evaluating the system and they've been upgrading with monies allocated, budgetary allocation each year. What has happened? Why are we here? Because from what you have said, it's clear anyone who is in that space should understand what the challenges are and should know how much money to invest in it. So what are the challenges? Is it that the money is allocated, were not enough? They didn't go to the intended? What are the challenges in particular?
NIMC is a microcosm of Nigeria. We like to be working very hard in the wrong direction. So the incumbent Director General, to be fair to her, she's been trying to clean up the register. I know this system so well. It's on record that I paid our predecessor in office, the DAG of NIMC at that material time, courtesy visit 3 good times with a view to partnering with NIMC. Look, NIPOS is a vital national infrastructure that takes care of the last mile. Yeah. There must be synergy between NIMC and NIPOS. Hey, NIMC, supply the identity number, NIN, right? And then NIPOS should be involved in the last mile of digitally verifying those addresses. Yeah. It is not a rocket science. Don't forget, Bill Gates is coming with his MOSIP. Yeah. Okay? But can we just do a comparative analysis of the identity ecosystems in other jurisdictions? All right? The idea of MOSIP was incubated and inspired by the outstanding success of ADA.
ADA in India.
Okay, so MOSIP is open source, okay? It's not for profit because Bill Gates, Tata, and the rest of them have funded the development of the technology. Yeah. Pretty much like Mayo Clinic, arguably the best hospital in the world, not for profit, okay? But here's the problem. If you are going to copy a system, you must be able to also copy the fundamentals of those systems. I mentioned about the world's largest end-to-end identity system. Without you having your address verified, you are not going to be enrolled in the other ecosystem. The same thing is in South Africa, the same thing is in Egypt, the same thing is in Philippines. The truth of the matter is that 11 countries are at the various stages of adopting MOSIP. Nigeria has signed the Memorandum of Understanding, but I'm submitting with due respect to them that if you don't have the foundation for that ID system, that is a verifiable addresses, physically verifiable, it will fail because it just amount to building a castle on a shaky foundation. So once we agree that we will subject those names to stress tests by normally before you enroll for name, there's a column for address, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those addresses must now be subjected to digital verification. The software, the technology is here. I own it. I have what they call MVP, agile, scalable, with full application program interface. Nigeria has spent money on me. As Postmaster General, I was exposed to several international workshops, capacity building. But I wanted to, bring back to Nigeria the benefits of the investment. The solution that I'm talking about, one in 2018, WISIS, World Summit on Information Society, an affiliate of International Telecommunications Union, a specialized agency of UN, in category 18 of WISIS, leveraging on ICT to create e-employment. At that material time, because I was the very first person to be appointed as Postmaster General from the private sector, the technology was developed by sound Nigerians. We have them, all right? But we had to pay for the prototype based on, public-private partnership. The approval limit, or rather, what the guy that developed the technology, one of the finest brains, PhD, it was beyond my approval limit. So we escalated it to the Ministry of Communications, NITDA. It got killed there.
Okay. So you want to help Nigeria, but Nigeria happened to you. Yeah, that's the...
Not exactly. I can tell you what happened.
No. If people still play the value chain, they're still Nigerians. Okay. Bad Belle, where you say Bad Belle and other fact is Nigeria that happened to you. And I'm happy that I'm talking to the former Postmaster General because I have always, and you would reckon with me that NIPOS should be a multi-billion-dollar any institution in this country. In fact, I had written blueprints as regards it's going to be. It should be the biggest distributor for e-commerce services. It should be the biggest last mile because NIPOS is about the only government parastatal in this country, if I'm not mistaken, that has a point in almost every local government.
After the police.
After the police. So NIPOS is about one of the biggest institutions. But I think the conversation, let's cascade it to a very important conversation on data touch points. Because that's one thing, harmonization of data touch points. In fact, Bosu Tijani was saying this when he responded to his identity being sold for 100 naira, and he was like, he had even done a white paper, and kudos to Bosu Tijani on, this white paper and all of that he had spoken about. How can we bring all this touch points together? Because I asked Dr. Esa Pantami that question, when he came, and when he gave me a conversation, I knew this was going to fail. NIMC did not have data point. In fact, even the storage touch points, I asked them, was it stored in situ or via cloud? There was no clarity on that. How can we bring the BVN data points, the electoral voters register data points, the what's it called? The NIN touch point data point,
the
TIN touch point data point,
the
vehicle number data point, and all of that, you know, the driver's license data point into one data touch point, because that's what Ada has done. That's why all you need, you don't even need to get a passport in India.
Even Ghana.
Yeah, you don't need to get a passport when you're going from one part of India to another. You just quote your Aadhaar number for everything at the point. So how can we harmonize data?
I'll tell you how to go about that. It's called convergence of data.
Yeah.
But before you converge data, it's like a relay race. If you have a very good guy who is anchoring your first leg, second leg, and you get to the last mile, which is NIPOS, and the last guy messes up, you're going to lose the medal. So there must be multi-stakeholding or stakeholders approach to it. Yeah. But really, you must clean up the NIMC ecosystem, the identity ecosystem. Once you clean it up and you ensure it is address-based, any number or name that is not integrated with an address that can be physically verified and an address verification certificate issued should be yanked off the database. At least you know that
like like a coordinated verification of the address.
Yes, yes. So all of these issues, as I've said, technologies have assisted us, all right?
But the banks have some of those databases, because when you do BVN, even when you open a bank account, there's still some physical verification, but I don't know if
most times they don't go to the locus.
No, some go to the locus. I've opened a bank account where they came to my house.
I can
you know, but do they interpret it in coordinates? I think that's the last mile that you're talking about.
So because they don't have the technology, the most they can do, you know, there are softwares that, I mean, banks have called me in the past. We want to do address verification. Is it the one that you visit the locus or you just randomly verify addresses? Because I've been involved, the truth of the matter is that compliance officers in banks are making money. They have address verification agents. And rather than go to the locus and take the picture of whoever is asking for his or her address to be verified and immediately uploaded to a designated data center, they hardly do that. Some do it. Again, the insecurity in the land. I can tell you a digital bank that wanted to verify some of the addresses. When their agents went to the places, they were murdered.
Well, Mr. Adegbuyi.
Yes.
Yeah, I get this, emphasis on address. Yes, reminds me of the P&T of old, the NIPOS of old, whereby they delivered letters at home. Yeah. If you wrote JAMB exam, yes, you will see the letter in the letter box in front of yours. That was in those days. Yeah. Now, in Nigeria, this address system, you go to some streets. Number 10 is at the beginning of the street. The next house you see is number 71. The numbering system no longer works.
No, technology has taken care of that.
No, but you will have to locate the house. And then how do you bring into this system people living in rural areas who have no address, who are the majority of Nigerians?
Very good. That's why we're saying that the solution is based on longitude and latitude. Yeah. And it has been customized for Nigeria. Yeah. Okay? I have 102 billion.
There are some villages, this way that will not be covered by longitude and latitude.
Everywhere is mapped and geolocated and geofenced. I have the technology. If you want me to demonstrate it now, we will demonstrate after all. That's what I'm talking about. The address is based on an acronym. The address of that place is LAIC 43292. LAIC is Lagos, LA. Yeah. IK is for Ikoyi local government. Yeah. And 4932, unique identifier that you can integrate or is compatible with name. Yeah. We have done that. As Postmaster General, I traveled through the length and breadth of Nigeria. I was carrying 3 phones, okay? virtually everywhere. And with the advent of Starlink and what NIMC is saying, everywhere is mapped.
Yeah.
Okay, we are presently using Google Map, MapMe, TomTom. I am developing a customized map for Nigeria that everywhere, including Sambisa Forest. What is important is that people who have been exposed to the global best practice, who you have invested in, should be invited so that we can sort out this thing. Because the truth of the matter is that if you recall, Anando de Soto, that popular Peruvian development economist, he said, the Ministry of Capital addresses such a vital infrastructure that if you don't have it, you exist outside of the law. You might as well not exist at all. In the capital thing that you are talking about,
Ministry of Capital,
it said that, look, black people are not poor because they don't have property. It is because their properties are not titled, and therefore they can't use it to raise loan and whatever. So we can sort this out. I've been in touch with the critical stakeholders.
Are you altruistic about it, or is it because of money-making venture? And what's the cost implication on the financing? Let's talk about that.
So for you to download the address, it is free. Okay? But the moment you want to use this address to access government services, passports, and all of that, you're going to pay a token.
How much?
Because technology is improving rapidly.
What's the financial plan? You're laughing. What's the financial plan? What's the financial plan?
It's technology cheap.
Break it down.
It's technology
because I know this is not also altruistic.
No, it is. It is. Rufai, I take exception
What's
to
it
this.
For you?
No, I take exception to it. You need to withdraw that. That's not altruistic.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Please.
Sorry, I withdraw that.
Because I am interested in legacy building initiatives so that when I'm long gone, they will say the father of modern addresses in Nigeria. By the way, I appeared on a sister TV station, and I was talking that I will make this thing available free of charge for MPOPs, Population Commission, because it is important to conduct, at that much time, the forthcoming population census, which must be address-based, the same way UK's census of 2030 was address-based.
Have you patented the proprietary software?
Just one question, because for a number of people, Mr. Adegbuyi, before we let you go, the concern for a number of Nigerians is that their data, there's a massive data compromise, identity theft, there's a possibility of that. Is there any assurance? You know, what some people have then talked about is how do we, not just in terms of the solution for what can be done, is what has already been done, how do we clean up the mess?
So you're going to engage the services of first-class cybersecurity experts. And
so is this salvageable?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Thank you, because that's really important for people to know.
Mr. Adegbuyi, I hope we have another opportunity where you can demonstrate this address thing you are talking about.
Yeah.
I will have given you an address. Say, for example, number 5, Adegbuyi Street, Mokoloki in Osun State, for you to locate it.
We can demonstrate it live.
Because the rural areas.
Okay. We can demonstrate it live.
We'll have a live demo.
There you go.
Okay, so what address should we?
No, just you have taught something. So let me go back. We're going to demonstrate it live.
Okay. Can you send me the app?
I will.
Okay,
I will.
Good.
So I'm going back to it.
Adegbuyi Street.
I'm zooming everywhere. You will have addresses.
Okay, so out of time, what we'll do is that we'll
can you see it?
All right,
Yeah.
so it's there.
So refresh.
Adegbuyi has shown up there.
Claim your address.
Okay, so Mr. Adegbuyi, thank you so much. We need to go back. We will definitely do this off air and hopefully show people on our social media, but thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.